Elon Musk was not like the other children. Growing up in Pretoria, South Africa, he was a quiet and introspective boy who often seemed lost in his own thoughts. His mind would drift away to far-off places, exploring complex ideas and envisioning grand futures that no one else could see. Sometimes he would stare into space for so long with such intense focus that his parents and doctors worried he might have a hearing problem. But he could hear perfectly fine. He was just busy building entire worlds inside his head. This unique way of thinking made it hard for him to connect with his peers, who found his logical and matter-of-fact way of speaking strange. The schoolyard was a difficult place for young Elon. Because he was different, he became an easy target for bullies. They didn't understand his passion for facts or his tendency to correct them when they were wrong. The teasing was relentless, and it often turned violent. In one terrible incident, a group of boys threw him down a flight of concrete stairs and beat him so severely that he had to be hospitalized. The physical and emotional pain was immense, but it did not break his spirit. Instead, these painful experiences seemed to harden his resolve, teaching him resilience at a young age. He learned that the world could be a cruel place, but he refused to let it extinguish the fire of his curiosity and ambition. Even with few friends, Elon found companionship in other ways. He had a younger brother, Kimball, who was his partner in many adventures, and a loving mother who encouraged his unique interests. His father was a brilliant but stern engineer, and their relationship was complicated. After his parents divorced when he was about 9 years old, Elon made the difficult decision to live mostly with his father. He believed he could learn more about engineering and technology from him, a choice that would profoundly shape his future path. This period of his life was filled with loneliness, but it also gave him the freedom to dive deeper into the subjects that fascinated him the most. This lonely childhood became the foundation for the man he would become. It was in those quiet moments, away from the noise of the playground, that he cultivated the intense focus and unwavering determination that would later define his career. He learned to rely on himself, to trust his own vision even when no one else understood it. The boy who was once an outcast would one day use his unique way of seeing the world to build companies that aimed to change it forever. The solitude that marked his early years was not a weakness, but a training ground, preparing him for a life of defying expectations and pushing the boundaries of what is possible. With few friends to play with, Elon Musk's greatest companions were books. He was a voracious reader, devouring everything from encyclopedias to science fiction novels. While other kids were outside playing sports, Elon was exploring different universes and learning about the wonders of science and technology through the pages of a book. He would read for hours on end, sometimes finishing multiple books in a single day. This habit filled his mind with a vast and diverse range of knowledge, giving him a deep understanding of physics, engineering, and business long before he ever set foot in a university classroom. These stories of space travel and futuristic technology weren't just entertainment, they were blueprints for his future. His life took a dramatic turn at the age of 10 when he got his first computer, a Commodore VIC-20. It was a simple machine with a tiny amount of memory, but to Elon, it was a gateway to a whole new world. The computer came with a workbook that was supposed to teach the user the basic programming language over 6 months. Elon, with his characteristic intensity, finished the entire book in just 3 days. He taught himself how to write code, line by line, unlocking the power to create things directly from his imagination. This was a revelation for him. He realized he could build virtual worlds and make the computer do whatever he commanded. His newfound programming skills were not just a hobby, they were the beginning of his entrepreneurial journey. At the young age of 12, Elon designed and coded his very own video game. He called it Blastar, a space shooter game inspired by the science fiction novels he loved so much. In the game, players had to destroy an alien freighter filled with deadly weapons. It was a simple game, but creating it from scratch was a remarkable achievement for a boy his age. He wasn't content just to play it himself. He saw an opportunity to turn his creation into a business, a sign of the entrepreneurial drive that would define his life. Elon decided to sell his game. He submitted the code for Blaster to a South African computer magazine, and they were so impressed that they bought it from him for about $500. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but for a 12-year-old in 1984, it was a fortune. More importantly, it was his first taste of financial success. He had taken an idea from his mind, used his skills to build it, and turned it into a profitable product. This early experience planted a seed in his mind. With technology and a good idea, he could create value and build something that people wanted. the journey from a bullied schoolboy to a tech entrepreneur had officially begun. As Elon grew into a teenager, his ambitions began to outgrow his home country of South Africa. He saw a future filled with technological marvels and endless possibilities, and he knew that the best place to make those dreams a reality was America. However, getting there directly was difficult. So, at the age of 17, with a backpack and a burning desire for something more, he made a bold move. He decided to go to Canada, his mother's birth country, which provided an easier path to the United States. He arrived with little money in his pocket but with an enormous amount of optimism and a powerful belief in his own potential to succeed. His early days in Canada were far from glamorous. To support himself, Elon took on a series of tough, low-paying jobs. He worked on a farm, shoveled grain, and even cleaned out the boiler room of a lumber mill for $18 an hour, a physically demanding job that few others wanted. These experiences taught him the value of hard work and what it felt like to live from paycheck to paycheck. It was a humbling period, but it never discouraged him. He viewed these challenges as temporary steps on a much longer journey. He was just paying his dues, building the character and resilience he would need for the much bigger challenges that lay ahead. After saving up some money, Elon enrolled at Queen's University in Ontario. For the first time, he was in an environment where his intellect was celebrated rather than mocked. He thrived in his studies but continued to think about the bigger picture. After 2 years, he saw an opportunity to get closer to his ultimate goal. He transferred to the University of Pennsylvania in the United States, where he pursued dual degrees in physics and economics at the prestigious Wharton School. This combination of subjects was intentional. He wanted to understand both the fundamental laws of the universe and the systems that governed money and business. His time at the University of Pennsylvania was transformative. He was surrounded by brilliant minds and endless resources, and he soaked it all in. He wasn't a typical college student who spent his weekends partying. Instead, he and a friend would rent a large house and turn it into a makeshift nightclub on weekends, charging admission to cover their rent. This early venture showed his knack for identifying an opportunity and executing a plan to profit from it. He was honing his business instincts while simultaneously mastering the complex principles of science and economics, preparing himself for the world of Silicon Valley that awaited him. After graduating, Elon Musk moved to California to pursue a PhD in applied physics at Stanford University. This was, the logical next step for a brilliant student of science. However, this was the mid-1990s, and the internet was just exploding with new possibilities. Elon could feel that a revolution was underway, and honestly, he just couldn't stand the thought of watching it from the sidelines of a classroom. So, after just 2 days at one of the world's most prestigious universities, he made a life-changing decision. He dropped out. He decided to risk everything to become an entrepreneur and chase the internet boom, a gamble that would either lead to incredible success or complete failure. In 1995, Elon and his brother Kimball started their first company, Zip2. Their idea was simple but really pretty revolutionary for its time. They wanted to create an online city guide, sort of like an internet version of the Yellow Pages, complete with maps. In the early days of the company, their budget was, basically non-existent. They had so little money that they couldn't afford both an apartment and an office. So they rented a small office and slept on the couch, showering at a nearby public facility. Elon coded the website tirelessly, often working day and night, while Kimball focused on sales, trying to convince local businesses to sign up. It was a grueling existence, fueled by passion and the belief that they were building the future. Their hard work and innovative idea eventually attracted attention. Investors saw the potential in Zip2 and poured millions of dollars into the company. This funding allowed them to hire a team and grow the business, but it also meant that Elon, the young founder, was no longer in complete control. The new executives and board members had their own ideas about how to run the company. Despite these internal challenges, Zip2 grew into a major success, providing online directory services to big newspapers like the New York Times. The company was at the forefront of bringing local businesses onto the burgeoning World Wide Web. In 1999, the moment of truth arrived. The computer company Compaq saw the value in what Elon and his brother had built and acquired, Zip2, for an incredible $307 million. For his share of the company, Elon received $22 million. At just 27 years old, he had become a multimillionaire. The gamble had paid off spectacularly. He was no longer the broke kid sleeping on an office couch. He was a proven success in the highly competitive world of Silicon Valley. But for Elon, this was never just about the money. It was about proving that his ideas could work, and this first major success was just the beginning of his ambitions. With $22 million in his bank account, Elon Musk could have, well, retired to a life of luxury. But resting on his laurels was never part of his plan. He immediately took a large portion of his newfound wealth, about $12 million, and plunged it into his next, even more ambitious venture. In 1999, he founded X.com, one of the world's first online banks. His vision was to completely revolutionize the financial industry, which he saw as slow, inefficient, and honestly, just resistant to change. He believed that people should be able to manage their money entirely online, securely and instantly. It was a radical idea at a time when most people were still wary of even entering their credit card information on a website. To attract customers to his unproven platform, Elon employed a clever and aggressive marketing strategy. He offered a $20 bonus to anyone who signed up for an X.com account and another $10 for every person they referred. This was an expensive gamble, but it worked brilliantly. Word spread like wildfire, and within the first 2 months, X.com had attracted over 100,000 users. People were excited by the convenience of online banking and, of course, the free money. Elon was proving once again that he had a unique talent for understanding consumer behavior and using bold tactics to drive rapid growth in a new market. Around the same time, another company called Confinity was gaining popularity with a service that allowed people to email money to each other. This service was named PayPal, and it was X.com's biggest competitor. Led by Peter Thiel, PayPal was also growing quickly. Instead of fighting a long and costly battle, the two companies decided to join forces. In March 2000, X.com and Confinity merged. As the founder of the larger entity and its biggest shareholder, Elon Musk became the CEO of the newly combined company. He was now at the helm of a pioneering financial technology firm with enormous potential. However, the merger was not without its problems. There was a major disagreement within the company leadership. Elon was adamant that the company should be branded as X.com, believing it was a cooler and more forward-thinking name. Most of the other executives, including Peter Thiel, strongly preferred the name PayPal, which they felt was more trustworthy and descriptive. This conflict, combined with Elon's demanding and sometimes ruthless management style, created deep divisions within the team. The tension was building, and it was about to lead to a dramatic and painful turning point in Elon's career. The internal conflicts at the merged company came to a head in September 2000. While Elon Musk was on a long overdue vacation, his honeymoon, the other key executives made their move. Feeling that his leadership style and his insistence on the X.com brand were hurting the company, the board of directors held an emergency meeting. In a swift coup, they voted to remove him as CEO. He was replaced by Peter Thiel, who promptly renamed the entire company PayPal. Elon learned he had been ousted from the company he built while he was still on his trip. It was a stunning betrayal and a harsh lesson in corporate politics. Despite the pain of being pushed out, Elon remained the largest shareholder in PayPal. He stayed on as an advisor, watching from the sidelines as the company continued its explosive growth under Thiel's leadership. He had lost control, but he still had a massive financial stake in its success. 2 years later, in 2002, the online auction giant eBay saw the immense value of PayPal's payment system and decided to acquire the company. The price was a staggering $1.5 billion. As the biggest individual shareholder, Elon Musk's portion of the sale was approximately $180 million after taxes. The sting of his removal was softened by an enormous financial windfall. Just as he was processing this incredible turn of fortune, Elon was struck by a devastating personal tragedy. His firstborn son, Nevada Alexander Musk, who was just 10 weeks old, passed away unexpectedly from sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. The loss was unimaginable, a grief that no amount of money could ever heal. Friends and family worried about how he would cope with such a profound heartbreak. Elon, in his own way, dealt with the pain by refusing to sink into despair. He later said that he coped by immersing himself in his work, channeling his energy and focus into his next big ideas. This period of immense professional success and deep personal loss forged him into an even more determined and relentless individual. He now had a massive amount of capital and an even stronger motivation to make a mark on the world. He wasn't interested in simply starting another internet company. His ambitions were now much, much bigger. He turned his gaze from the digital world of finance to the physical world of manufacturing and engineering. He was ready to tackle some of the biggest challenges facing humanity, using his fortune to fund dreams he had held since he was a boy reading science fiction books in South Africa. With the fortune he made from PayPal, Elon Musk set his sights on an industry that, honestly, most people considered untouchable: aerospace. In 2002, he founded SpaceX with the audacious goal of making humanity a multiplanetary species. His ultimate dream was to build a colony on Mars. At first, the experts and industry veterans laughed at him. They said a private individual with no formal aerospace background had no chance of building and launching rockets, a domain dominated by governments and giant defense contractors. But Elon was determined to prove them wrong. He believed he could build cheaper, reusable rockets and fundamentally change the economics of space travel. While trying to get humanity to space, he also decided to revolutionize transportation on Earth. In 2004, he invested heavily in a small electric car startup called Tesla Motors. His vision was to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Like with SpaceX, the early years were incredibly difficult. Tesla faced production delays, technical problems, and was constantly on the verge of bankruptcy. During the 2008 financial crisis, Elon had to pour every last cent of his personal fortune into both SpaceX and Tesla just to keep them from collapsing. He was one failed rocket launch or one missed payroll away from losing everything. Against all odds, his persistence paid off. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket finally reached orbit on its fourth attempt, securing a vital contract from NASA. Tesla eventually solved its production issues and released the Model S, a car that won countless awards and proved that electric vehicles could be better, faster, and more exciting than their gasoline-powered counterparts. These successes were the result of years of relentless work, sleeping on the factory floor and pushing his teams to achieve the impossible. He built companies that tackled humanity's biggest challenges, from space exploration to renewable energy. Today, on August 29, 2025, Elon Musk stands as the richest person in the world, with a net worth estimated at over $378 billion. His wealth comes from his ownership in the companies he built from the ground up: Tesla, the world's most valuable car company; SpaceX, which dominates the rocket launch industry; and his other ventures like X, formerly Twitter, and Neuralink. His journey from a bullied boy in South Africa to a global icon is a powerful testament to the force of human will. Elon Musk's story is an inspiring reminder that being different isn't a weakness, and that facing incredible hardship can forge the strength needed to change the world.